Injuries. Obviously, we made the announcement on Rodri yesterday. So unfortunately, he picked up an injury at the end of the match. That'll keep him out for probably 6 to 8 weeks. Adam, we're building up, but not quite ready yet. Archie, almost back in training. Stewart making really good progress. And Sonny Perkins also picked up a 10-day ankle injury in the match against Accrington. So he won't be ready for this match either.
Jesse, good afternoon.
Hi.
You well?
Hi, yeah, good.
Can I just check, Rodrigo injury, there's talk of him being out till the end of March. For a man who's scored, I think, 40% of your Premier League goals this season, how big a blow is that?
Yeah, we're obviously disappointed. First, as a manager, I always feel it's our responsibility to take care of these guys. So trying to manage them always physically so that they're not risking their bodies at harm. And I think we do a pretty good job of that. And if you went by muscle injuries in this squad over the past year, it's been quite good. This one was a little bit of a contact at the top of the box right at the end of the match. And it resulted in a small fracture in the bottom of his tibia. So, you can't ever protect players all the way. They have to play the match, and you can't treat them like porcelain. Obviously, after the match, when it was 3-0, then you think, well, should we have not played him on the day? But the emphasis of putting him on was to get him and Patrick playing together again so that we could continue to have the option of both of them on the pitch at the same time. But yeah, we're disappointed for Rodri. But the good part is that Pat's in a really good way. Physically this week is the best he's felt since I've been here. He's training well, he's in good form, he's playing well. And then it's the reason we went out and got Jorginho. So I also think Jorginho played really well against Accrington, and I think he's ready for some big challenges and big moments with us as well. So we have a really strong squad now, really balanced squad, and we're excited. We're excited for the upcoming matches because we believe that we're really strong.
So no hesitation in putting your faith in young Jorginho in coming matches because you've got some big games coming up.
No, we went and got him because we felt that he was ready. And we knew that he's young and it will take him some time to adapt. But I've been really impressed with how intelligent he is. And I think he fit into the team almost perfectly against Accrington. So obviously we know the Premier League's another level, but we're excited for him to have opportunities.
Quite a few games to go yet, but when you look at that league table, it's starting to look like 3 from 9. It's 9 points separating those bottom 9 teams. What's your assessment of how things look at the moment with regard to who's going to make the dreaded draw?
For me, it's totally on our process, which I've been very positive about in the last weeks because it's clear that our group is coming together in a really strong way. So obviously we can't avoid the topic of what the table is, and it's very tight, which makes the match against Nottingham very important for us. But I think we've actually finally created a process where we're really focusing on our development, on our performance, and our confidence, and in our belief, and that's led to us playing better. And now it's time to pick up some more results. But you could look at it a lot of ways. People always talk we haven't won a lot of games in the last however many, but if you then go through our last 7 games, we've only lost 1. So we're on an uptick, and the key for us is to keep our foot on the gas and keep pushing so that we're going to get to be the team we want to be.
And it did look like you were going to lose Jack Harrison, but then things changed at the last minute. Tell us the story of what happened, because it just seemed a bizarre turnaround. Yeah,
it's time to talk about transfers, I guess. How I would describe it is in the 11th hour, something came from Leicester. We'd been talking with Jack for a while about renegotiating his contract, and it's kind of gone well, but then been stalled at different moments. So, and we've spent a lot of money in the last couple transfer windows, I think very wisely, and I think we've invested very wisely. But before I think all the powers that be could get together from all the different angles, then in the 11th hour, there's some internal discussion in a lot of different ways on what's best for everyone. But once it all came together, it was clear that we wanted Jack to stay. Jack wanted to stay, and that's why he's still here. So I think we need to, we are visiting getting that contract extension finalized, because I think Jack has earned it and he's an important guy in our squad. But it created some complication because of he only had 18 months left on his contract, and this comes in. But in the end, I think we all came together very intelligently to say, Jack needs to stay, and Jack felt the same.
Could he fine? Because hadn't he actually gone down to Leicester?
I'm not sure about the actual details of that. But I was in constant contact with him, and so was Victor and everyone else. So. And his agent, Remy, was also, I think, helpful in the process to make sure to keep Jack to stay.
Final one from me. Can I just ask you, we're asking all managers today, talking of transfers, Chelsea have spent a colossal amount of money in this window, well over £300 million. What do you make of their spending, and how concerned are you about the way it might impact the league as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I saw Jurgen Klopp's response, that he needed to have a lawyer present for an answer to that, and maybe I should respond the same thing, that I need Jurgen Klopp's lawyer here as well. Listen, when teams have the resources and the capability to make big transfers, that's a benefit to them and their fans and their club. I'm totally focused on us, right? I'm really thankful to be at a place where we really work together, where we have a vision, where we're committed to putting that vision into place day after day. In the transfer windows, it's never easy, but I think we've had 2 very, very successful transfer windows, and there's no question that our squad and our team and our club is stronger now than it was a year ago. So that's a good feeling, and now it's my job to take all of the great efforts from our board and from our ownership and from our sport director, and now make sure that it continues to add up to results.
A little bit of envy, though, when you look at what Graham's had to spend?
I think you just have to. Envy is not the right word for me. I've said here often that I would love to be here for a long time, because I think in the end, as a manager, you just want to find a place where you find like-minded people. And I think that's what we have here. And we have a commitment to do the things that we think are important and valuable to our process. And we are aligned, and the conversations are not too complex, because there's sometimes small varying opinions on how to handle little situations. But in the big picture, we're all fully aligned and working diligently together to get stronger and stronger. So that's what, as a manager, I look at less like how much money do we have to buy all the players we want versus how much have we created a process, and are we internally connected so that we can do everything we can to be successful. So in our own way, and I think that's what we have here.
Thanks for your time.
Just on the team news, Jesse, please. Brendan Harrison, is he okay?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's fine. On Jack, clearly somebody at the club sanctioned that there could be a sale of him. You want him to stay. I understand he's happy at the club, so who sanctioned the possibility of that sale?
Well, I think before, when it came so late, and when you looked at how we had spent money, that then we were trying to contemplate, okay, is it the right moment? And Jack was also trying to. I almost think it was a little bit, in the moment, a chance for us to really now solidify exactly how we feel about Jack and how Jack feels about us and how it's all coming together. And I would say that I don't know that there have been many opportunities where a player has learned how invested a club is in him than this one. So I think when big offers come in, players have to consider what that might be and what that might look like. And so I don't fault anyone for visiting the possibility of what it could be. But in the end, once we got all the decision makers to align themselves, and we all realized Jack has to stay.
But it did get very close as well. I'm just trying, even from a footballing point of view, though, Jesse, what sense does it make to sell Jack? Say it was 20 million, whatever it was, to a rival without in the table, knowing that your top scorer was injured as well at the same time?
No, you're right. That's a good way to describe it, Adam. I don't know if I would say it better. We felt like, okay, Rodri was hurt. Jack is an important player. He's performing at a high level. He's played more minutes, I think, than any other player since I've been here. Like, I think it was relatively easy. Again, it was late. It was like last day. And so, we just had to get everyone aligned. And once we did, then we made the right decision.
How's his head, though? And really,
Yeah.
can you see him signing a new deal now, knowing that?
Yeah. No, I think his head is really clear. And again, because I think it was a chance for everybody to express exactly how important he is to us. So I don't think, again, I wish my wife would show a vote of confidence to me the way we did to Jack in the last 48 hours.
Overall, the window has been great for you. How do you manage new additions? I mean, Forest are probably the same, but there are more additions as well. Managing those new players now quickly to get them to where you want.
No, you're right. This is my job now, is to make sure that we integrate everybody, that we update everybody on where we are mentally, psychologically, tactically. I think the additions that we've brought in have in their background and in their formation some connection to what we're trying to do here. And so because of that, I think the integration process for those three guys has been fairly simple. Now, they still have to adapt to the league and to what our club is and their teammates and everything else. But I expect that all three of them we've seen Max make an immediate impact. I think Georgie has shown that as well, and I expect Weston to be able to do the same.
And finally for me, I don't envy you trying to work out who's going to play for Forest because they've had a flood of players for the second time as well. Is that a really difficult process for you, judging what they're going to be like?
Yeah, they played 4-2-3-1 last time out against Man U, and I think they rotated a few players. I think we can predict who we're going to see on the pitch, but there will be some surprises, I believe. They've played more of a diamond as of late, so we're preparing for a diamond 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2. Earlier in the season, they were playing with three in the back. But I think the focus for us on the day will to be at our best, to go to a rival now, to go to a team that's fighting with us in the table, a team that we respect at a place that's not easy to play, but a moment for us to show that we're ready for some bigger challenges and that we've grown a lot over the last 6 weeks. And I believe that we have, and I'm really excited for the match on Sunday, really excited.
Hi Jesse, just one from me. Weston McKennie, is he in contention to play, and what do you expect him to contribute to Leeds in his time here?
Yes, so, first of all, Weston is, he's a competitor. He believes in himself. He's got incredible flexibility and can play almost any position on the pitch, and I've seen that. But he's aggressive, he's confident, and he has quality. At Schalke, they played a little bit similar to the things that I like to do. So even now, sitting and talking with him about what we think his role will be, he's pretty clear on how to integrate himself. Training over the past week, he's been outstanding. He's fit. He's ready. So yes, of course, he is in consideration to start on Sunday and certainly to be in the squad.
And how much of a dilemma do you actually face in fitting everybody in? Because you've got what appears an embarrassment of riches. What an incredible problem to have as a manager. And I think you're right. We have great options in every position. I've challenged the group to be committed to the group concept. Whether they're starting or coming off the bench with 5 subs, we should feel like we can make a big impact and push every match to its limit with the quality that we have now. And you can see the camaraderie in the group. You can see the belief has grown. You can see the commitment to each other has never changed. That's one of the things that I've complimented this group about all the time. I've never been more excited to be the manager of this team. And I'm really looking forward to Sunday.
Hi Jesse, all right. Yep. Can I just ask you about Patrick Bamford? And he's obviously now had a bad time with his injuries and stuff, but now obviously he's looking good, and at a time when Rodrigo's out as well. How much of an opportunity is this for him now, but to really sort of like grasp that, the number 9 shirt up front and play all the time?
Yeah, well, like I said, even when we put Rodri in, part of the idea was, can we get those two playing together a little bit more, and what would that look like? And Unfortunately, we won't be able to visit that for a little while, but the fact that Patrick is physically in the best shape in at least a year and a half is, I think, the most important talking point. Because if he feels good physically, then he has quality and he's a natural goal scorer, and then you see his confidence grow in training and in matches. So he went through a stretch earlier in the season where he wasn't taking his chances as well, but part of it was he just physically wasn't right. And now he's on track, and we need him. So I think Georgie can play together as well. I think also, Pat will monitor carefully to make sure that we don't overextend him. And then we can use Georgie at times too up front. But I think those two are both ready to take more on their shoulders.
Good stuff. Just last one. Just an update on some of the other guys that missed the game last weekend. Are they all back? Like the likes of Somerville, Cooper, Adams, Pascal. Are they all back?
They are all back. They are all back in training, and they are ready for Sunday.
Top stuff. Thank you very much.
Hi, Jesse.
Hi.
So Brendan Rodgers said yesterday that he spoke to Jack at Leicester City's training ground. He was there. As far as he was concerned, it was happening. So
Okay.
What was it that happened at the 11th hour? Who was it that spoke? You said that a last decision maker got involved and all things changed. So it was clearly quite advanced things to be down there.
Yeah, again, I think until we could get everyone aligned. And so again, if you just I'll try to give you a little bit more insight. But if you can imagine that Andrea's here or in Italy, we're here in Leeds, the 49ers are in California, they just had a big game. And we kind of had to get everybody on the same page, and in the last seconds, minutes, hours of the transfer window to just make sure that we were all aligned. And by the way, I think it was fair enough for Jack to, if that is the case, I knew that he spoke to Brendan. But if it was the case that he had to visit it a little more carefully, with the dialogue that I was having with Jack the entire time, his intention was never to leave. He wanted to stay, but I think we had to now make sure that we could show him in every way the reasons why, and then also make sure that we were prepared to redo his contract. So once we were able to align all of us together to do that, then it was clear for everyone.
The bits of business we haven't spoken about yet, Diogo and Diego, the defenders, sort of swapping places. Can you talk about both of those deals, please? Yeah,
quite honestly, Diego wasn't so easy because we know it leaves us a little bit thin in the back. But Diego felt that there were a couple things happening in his personal life as well where he felt like he really needed a change. And so he and I had a good discussion, and I said to him exactly that. And in the end, Victor and I gave the okay on it based on the fact that Diego felt it was really important for him. And then we had been working with Diogo for a while, and we think he's a young, talented center back who fits the way we want to play football. And so, is he ready to take on the role of Diego? Probably not, but we knew he has big potential. He could work within our 21s and still, we think, mature. And listen, we're hopeful, just the way that Willie's come and developed quickly and proven himself, that we can have found another gem like this. So, but the first days with Diogo have been very good.
Thank you. Stuart?
Hi, Jesse. Just thinking about Diego and Jack and Mateus Click earlier in the window. Do you think the balance has almost changed now, and you're almost powerless to stop a player if he wants to leave? Even when they're under contract. How do you sort of see that relationship?
Well, the different places I've been, once a player gets within a year and a half of his contract being up, you have to make a decision. Either you extend him and try to continue to have him as part of your project, even knowing that maybe you sell him in 6 months or in a year or whatever. That's always a possibility. But it's about sort of sometimes players benefit from that situation because they financially can get a better contract, even though they may not want to leave, or they want to stay, or they do want to leave. So there's a lot. The market is a lot to manage, and all I feel like I can do as the coach, the leader of the team, is just to confess what our plan is, how we feel about that individual, and then be very clear on what the future looks like. And if they can understand that and believe that the things that I tell them are true, then they can make educated decisions on what's best for their lives and for their careers. So
And I find that if you do it, if you have open dialogue and you can have that kind of relationship, that even if you lose a player occasionally, that you're losing them for the right reasons because you've tried to be as open and as honest with what the relationship is. So, and through that, I find the relationships actually grow stronger. And so even the question about Jack, is he ready? I actually think Jack is more confident than ever about his place here in our club.
And you talk about the club's vote of confidence in Jack. I mean, January as a whole, it has to be seen as a big vote of confidence in you as well, in terms of the business you've been able to do, and even bringing in Chris. Does that is that the biggest thing that motivates you at the moment? You've often spoke about how grateful you are to be here, to just repay that confidence.
You're right. I've said I've never felt so supported in my career, and it's really been. And I've been at some wonderful places. And yeah, now I think a lot of the responsibility falls on myself, the staff, our team. Like we're now, I think, positioned to really develop and become good. And then once we become good, to focus on being great. So I know we're on the right path now. I've been saying that for weeks. I think our transfers we've made over the last 2 windows have been fantastic. We have real options. There's a lot of strength and quality in the squad and a lot of good people, really good people who care about what we're doing here. And I think we're developing a team that our fans are going to be really proud of. So yeah, I'm excited and I'm motivated just because now I can really see the potential of what we can become.
Given that it sounded like it was partly Diego's decision to go to Italy, did you think about signing cover for him? I know Montero came in, obviously, but in terms of somebody who you would consider to be, immediately ready for the first team.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about what our options would be, and what we felt about our group that we had. I think, quite honestly, one of the factors is that Junior's in a really good way, and so he's fit, he looks healthy, he's playing well, so it gives us like another option that maybe we haven't always had. So, and then bringing in Diogo, we felt fit the profile of a young player that we could hopefully develop and in a couple months can be ready for some bigger challenges. So we discussed that, but in the end, I think we decided to stay with this group because we feel strongly about it.
How complete is this squad now then in your eyes? I mean, over the past, say, 12 to 18 months, we've periods where you look at it and say pretty obvious gaps in it or thin points, but if you're looking at it now, where is it thin, do you think?
I think it's stronger than it's ever been since I've been here. So you're probably right when even you ask the question about the back, that maybe in the future we could maybe use one more player. But I feel strongly about, and I said, we sat in this room, and when we talked about video, when the window closed, I said, everyone that's here now is here for a reason because we believe in them. And I think our squad is lean but strong, and that's what we've wanted. We've wanted to not have 25 field players and 5 goalkeepers. We wanted to have 19, 20, and 3. And now we feel strongly that we have real quality, real weapons, players that understand what we're trying to do and can commit to it. And now there's, I think, real excitement about continuing the process to get better and better.
Okay, we're going to move on to the... Oh, sorry, Matt, do you just want to take one more?
Hi, Jesse. Given how busy it's been at Ellen Road over the transfer window, Sunday's opponents, they made 6 transfers in January. That takes, I think, 29 now they've brought in 29 players. Just wondered what your comments were on that and how difficult it would be for their manager to integrate that one.
Yeah, I mean, I know Dane Murphy a little bit, who was there, and he was a part of bringing in everybody. You're talking about Forest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've kind of made the decision to bolster up front their squad. And I think it's benefited them. They have some real quality players. They've had a lot of injuries lately. Maybe that has something to do with why they decided to be so active in the January window. Yeah, I mean, they've brought in a lot of talent,
you know? And so I think that has potential to really benefit them. And for me, it's like you see in the process that the longer you have to really integrate and work with a group, that now you can start to feel like you're really improving. And that's always the goal. So this will be a big match for us. We know that. We respect Nottingham a lot. I think they've had, especially as of late in the league, they've had some big results. And we need to make sure that we know we're going to a tough place, that we need to play with our power and our belief, and we need to go after the game from the very beginning and make sure that we put the game on our terms.
Okay, we'll move on to Sunday embargo if you can turn off cameras.